This person's companies are spread all over the world. The person's legacy is equivalent to that of triple Elon Musk's. The person's descendants don't have to worry about making money. They sit firmly on the throne of the world's richest. This person is John D. Rockefeller, the wealthiest person in the world ever. In the last video, we talked about John's success story. In this video, you will know the reasons he became so wealthy and what can be learned from him by ordinary people. First, John D. Rockefeller's business judgment was very accurate. In 1859, the first oil well in the world was drilled in Pennsylvania, USA, which marked the start of the modern oil industry in the United States. After the oil well was drilled, oil began to flow out of the ground, and people began to use oil lamps and stoves instead of burning wood and wax. The oil that was drilled couldn't be used directly as gasoline. It had to be refined. After the first oil well appeared, American businessmen and people went to dig for oil wells because oil was very valuable. John D. Rockefeller also went to Pennsylvania for 12 days to inspect oil wells, read local news, and talk to local people. Then he decided not to invest because he feels that this investment is too hot now, but there is no sign for outbreak of oil usage, therefore the price will drop. And later on, the fact proved that he was right. Second, double entry bookkeeping. You may wonder what this is. Well, it is a little bit academic, so you should listen carefully. You may leverage it as well after you understand it. Double entry bookkeeping is a method of accounting that is based on the principle that every financial transaction has two equal and opposite effects on the financial statements. This means that for each transaction, there must be a corresponding entry in two different accounts. One account is debited and another account is credited. Sounds confusing, right? Let me explain in human language. If I open a clothing store, I need to sell clothes. That I only need to use single entry bookkeeping method. Simply put, it's a ledger. How many pieces of clothing were sold today? Who owes me money? One line after another is enough. And the double entry bookkeeping method, in simple terms, the principle is there must be a credit whenever there is a debit, credit, and debit must be equal. That is, any amount of money, we not only need to record where it was spent, but also where it came from. The question is, it is the same amount of money. Why not just record it once? If it is in simple capital environment, then the money I earned is the property of my family, and I save it in a safe, and that is it. That is where the single entry bookkeeping is needed. But once capital becomes developed, capital is not just property. It is a kind of blood that drives the flow of all social resources, people, and money. Therefore, in business, money is flowing. Not only we need to know where it came from, but also where it goes. For example, my friend Bob, who has a good relationship with me, borrows $100 from me. In the past, I only need to record that Bob owes me $100, and I'll just ask him for it later. But under the double entry bookkeeping method, or in the developed capitalist situation, I can't think of the problem this way. I must first write down that Bob owes me $100. On the other hand, I also have to record that the saving from my bank account is short of $100, so it's not only about Bob owing me a personal favor, but also about when the bank uses my money to invest and I will take a loss. An assessment in history is that John Rockefeller was a master at utilizing the double entry accounting system. Third, making money through win-win situation. Rockefeller's company operates the largest and best refinery in the U.S., with very strong competitiveness. Other competitors also operate a refinery, but they cannot compete with Rockefeller. So John Rockefeller negotiated with them, asking them to give up a portion of their shares for John to acquire. The peer would still hold a portion of the shares, and they would jointly operate the company. The management rights were in John's hands, and it was mutually beneficial. John controlled more companies at a very low cost, while the competitors held shares and made money while doing nothing under John's strong management. Therefore, the kind of acquisition will not make the competitors bankrupt. He will acquire their companies at a price that makes them satisfied. So people were willing to be acquired by him. And he also hires those talented people to work for him. And some may even become his partners and get shares of the company, which was a win-win situation. This is also true in our real life, whether for entrepreneurs or for ordinary people. Creating a win-win situation will always be more secure than other methods in terms of making money. The above 3 key factors contribute to Rockefeller's success. If you think there are more factors, welcome to leave a comment. I will see you in the next video.